we want to build a better society. So we have something to do to achieve that. Building a better society has to come from personal decisions that we all should individually make. And to build a better society will take some work on our part. What are we all supposed to do to build a better society? Now, you asked that question, so now I'm asking it. You got to answer the question too, because when we ask these questions, we have to answer them for ourselves, because everyone has a role to play. What do we do to build a better society? What? Well, of course, we will do so many things, but today we are not going to talk about everything we should do to build a better society, but we will just look at one element, just one. And if we can pick that one up and dwell on it, we can at least make a headway. And what am I talking about? Building or creating a better society will involve doing good. Doing good. And just to make sure that everyone understands what I mean by doing good, I will go a step further. Because when you say, how are you doing? Somebody says, I'm doing good. Now, that one right there, doing good in that sense, is different from what I mean doing good. I mean acts of goodness, acts of kindness, acts of love, assistance, and things like that. So when you do those things, you are doing good. We can begin to build or create a better society by embracing the philosophy of doing good. Again, I try to always be contemporary in these my presentations, because academics are also good, but sometimes they end up in theoretical frameworks and conceptual frameworks and hypotheses and tests and validations and extrapolations, and we do all those things, but again, at the end of the day, those things end on the pages of research works and dissertations and theses and all that, long essays. So that's why I try to just be contemporary, so that everyone can get on the same page with me. So doing good, building a better society through the acts of goodness, acts of kindness, acts of love, and all those things that go with it, the virtues. We can build a better society by doing those things. We will not all do the same thing when we say act of kindness. People will do acts of kindness in different ways. So if I asked you a question, don't take it that that's what I want everyone to do. It's just something that some people do. You might not do it, but you do the acts of kindness and acts of goodness, in your own way. And even sometimes I heard about random acts of kindness. I do hear about that a lot. That's good. But if it's random, then I need more from you. Not just random. Have you volunteered with your neighborhood non-profit association? Have you? And if you have, how many times have you volunteered? And if you know how many times you've volunteered, I would also ask, when was the last time you volunteered? We are talking about creating a better society. When we say better, you know that that is a comparative form of the adjective good. So better means that the society is already good. To some degree, it is good. But the thing is, as we join those who came before us to this planet, as we join them, we build on what they have already founded. So that's why I call it building a better society, because it's already good. We want to make it better than we found it. You see, we don't always talk about building the best society. You know my take by now, you know my take on the superlatives. I like the comparatives because it keeps us working. The comparative degree keeps us working. So as we keep working, we are trying to make it better and better. We're trying to build on foundations that those who came before us laid. And those who are coming after us, they can only build on the foundation. And so they're trying to make it better than they found it. That is better than where we stopped. Acts of kindness, acts of love. And those things come from inside. You can't buy them. You can't fake them. You can't pretend about them, because you are you. And whatever you are will come out. So if you have wickedness in you, acts of kindness will be very, very far from you. Unless you find out that you are wicked and you learn some lessons, begin to transform yourself and begin to become kind and better. That's when the change can begin to take place. So you need to embrace kindness, goodness, love, compassion, so you may assist those you find along the way. You got to help them. You got to be kind. You got to be courteous. You got to be helpful, because we are trying to build a better society. Period. Because we got to make it better than we found it. So when was the last time you volunteered, and where did you volunteer? There's so many places where you can volunteer, so many places. And I just mentioned non-profit organization. It doesn't have to be a federal tax exempt non-profit organization with 501c3 declaration or recognition. It just has to be a place and time that your contribution can help to change the lives of other people. So what I recommend is, don't just volunteer and go home. Volunteer over and over. If you like, you can identify just one organization. Walk in there, tell them that you like to volunteer, even if it's just 1 hour per week. Surely there'll be a task to be given to you to perform. For instance, if you go to volunteer 1 hour per week at your neighborhood non-profit organization, they can put you in the cataloging department. You begin to catalog everything in that place. For 1 hour, the cataloging you can do for 1 hour will help. And they know that you're coming back that same day, that same time, the next week to continue from where you stopped. This is just an example. When you do so, you are creating a better society. Of course, I know one argument I've seen before, or in some places, some arguments are that you go to volunteer at a neighborhood nonprofit organization, and it turns out that the CEO of that nonprofit is going home with $1 million a year, but you go to volunteer for free. So I've heard such arguments, and I always say, don't look at what is in another man's pocket. Look at what is in your heart. Because the person who is earning $1 million a year, you do not know if he volunteered 40 years ago. You do not know if he started to volunteer from elementary school. Go and check the logbooks. You see names of people who volunteered because they needed to have what do you call it? This is some credit system where schools recognize their volunteer hours, of their students. Those things happen. So if a student started to volunteer at a nonprofit from secondary school or from the high school and continued going, and they saw that student, the student was volunteering until he or she went to college. The student maintained consistency and had integrity and had service, humility, respect for elders, truth. And they watched the student go from college to graduate school, and the student comes out of the grad school and still be volunteering. Tell me what will happen to that student. If that student is good, and if the student has been volunteering, the student already knows the nooks and crannies of the processes, the SOPs and everything. He knows who is who, and he or she must have come in contact with the CEO over time. So he already knows 3 or 4 CEOs, and all that, and they probably have given him reference at some stages in life. So will you be surprised if that volunteer eventually becomes a CEO? We are trying to build a better society. So this high school student who began to volunteer has volunteered for, let's just say, 4 years of high school, 4 years of college, that's 8, 2 years of grad school, that's 10. All right? And in some cases, the student probably got a job somewhere else, but still comes on his day off to come and volunteer that 1 hour per week or 2 hours or whatever the case may be. It doesn't really matter, but the person maintained consistency. Right now, the people who were there when you went to volunteer as a high school boy, some of them have retired. They have left. They're not there anymore. The employees they have there know you as a volunteer, but they know that you have been volunteering before they even got a job there. There are some things they don't know. They will come to you and ask you. Even on a day that you're not volunteering, they can call you and say, we need help with this. How do we do it? You will guide them and get them through the process. Remember, we are talking about building a better society. Now, as time goes on, those people knew that you've been coming to this place to volunteer. They know that they are new and you know more about this place, even though you are just a volunteer. They will not be surprised if one day you are brought in to come and be the boss lady or the boss man. Nobody will complain because they know that you know the organization. So when you try to build a better society, you are building yourself and everybody will be happy. So learn about kindness, love, show love to people, show kindness, help others, make it a personal policy and your personal philosophy to be good. Do good to everyone, do good, help people, because without that, we cannot build a better society. We got to be good. We got to embrace it. It's going to be a personal principle, personal philosophy. Embrace it. Because where we are going, it's a long way. We need love, kindness, courtesy, integrity, focus, poise. We need all those things as we travel along the way in this journey of life. We got to build a better society through acts of kindness and acts of love. Let's do it. We can do it.